are the advantages and challenges associated with relying on private security for maritime protection? We'll park the initiative and efforts of the Indian Navy and the armed forces on the side for the moment for your answer. We'll come back to that later. Thank you.
Thank you, Captain Tandon. Now what Chirag said with regards to the seafarers feeling psychologically very unsafe. I would take that as the most important, as the seafarers need to be happy, they need to feel safe. So when there are armed security guards on board, it gives them an impetus, some peace, knowing that they are protected. So they would probably not mind going through the HRA, which in turn would make the ship owner happy because it's shorter routes, and as Ali mentioned, the costs will come down. There's more flexibility. Now, giving all due respect to our Navy, which is of course doing a fantastic job, but as far as immediate response is concerned, if there are armed security guards on board, then probably that helps. The other one is, what I've mentioned, the shorter route. And then as far as shippers, exporters and all, as Chetali has mentioned, they would be happier because the cost would come down substantially. Now, as far as disadvantages, I would call it as rather challenges. Now, both UNCLOS as well as the Anti-Piracy Act do not specifically address the question of armed security guards. So in view of this, there's a lot of legal ambiguity with regards to this. So there's no set rules and regulations which cause a lot of issues with regards to the nature of engagement, with regards to the liability regime and all of that. Further, it also may undermine the master's overriding authority, in the sense if you have a contract with the armed security guards and the contract says that in case of a particular incident, the armed guards would be the deciding factor. So then where is the master? Where does the master stand? So I'll come to that later with how to address the challenges. The other one is jurisdictional issues with regards to the coastal state, the flag state, as well as the statehood of the armed security guards. So this may create an issue. Then between the coordination between the various authorities, the coastal state, the shipboard crew, the international regulations, so the coordination issues. So these are some of the challenges that I would say, with having private armed security guards on board. Also, armed security guards were probably a necessity because merchant ships are not allowed to carry arms. So this was the way forward, and as Admiral Karve and Chirag would say, that there are no incidents when there are armed security guards on board. Also with the new, Admiral had said, that the handlers, I heard that, the handlers who have all the information, so they would have the information with regards to the armed security guards, I presume. So that also helps because it's more of a deterrence. You may not actually have to fire, but it would be a deterrence. Now, how does one address this challenges? Of course, there needs to be a very robust legal and regulatory framework. Another issue I would like to address is with regards to, say, the PNI. Now, the PNI is not strictly influenced by the armed guards. However, there may be certain things that fall outside the cover of the PNI. Say, for example, there's an incident on the vessel. There's some firing that happens with a particular type of weapon. Now, that may not be covered under PNI. So owners have to be very careful first. They have to address the flag state. What are the flag state regulations? Do they have any particular requirements? What are the arms on board? Is it allowed by the flag state? What are the regulations when the vessel comes into port? Are they allowed to come in? Are they allowed to board the vessels? I believe, I'm not very certain of this, but I think India does not allow the armed guards to board from any of our ports. And I think they are allowed to come in, however the weapons are sealed in, properly sealed, and then I think the entire details are given to our, to our authorities. So all these have to be addressed, and the owners have to take care that first the flag state has to be, addressed on all this, and the response, the written response of the flag state has to be given to the PNI, so that everything is in place. Further, there should be no conflict between the charter party, because again, if there is an incident and I don't know whether it really happens. Admiral Karve would have more knowledge of that. However, this is just a situation that could happen. There is an incident and the armed guards are in charge, and they tell the master, okay, fine, we cannot proceed this way, you proceed, the other way. Now, though the master has overriding authority, if the contract says otherwise, he has no option. And in a conflict situation, you don't know exactly, what would be the response. In that case, what would happen to the charter party? So there would be a conflict. So all this has to be taken care of. Further, we should not forget the best marine practices, which have to be taken care of. SOLAS has to be taken care of. ISPS. So I think I would stress maximum upon the contract, whether it be with the armed security guards or elsewhere, so everything has to be in sync, so that tomorrow there shouldn't be any conflict with that.
Briefly, if you can also tell us, are you aware of any changes to amend the UNCLOS or the legal frameworks to address this? Now, we know India has done the Maritime Anti-Piracy Act, but is there any regional cooperation within the affected states? Are you aware of anything?
So UNCLOS, there's been a lot of discussion amongst the member states with regards to amending the UNCLOS and including piracy. However, the problem is that it's not easy. It's very, very difficult, and to bring about that change would really take a lot of effort and time. So as of now, there's nothing. However, IMO has brought out a lot of circulars with regards to armed guards and the details and how to take care. So IMO has been very proactive. The group, Somalian, the group that has been proactive. So I think at the end of the day, what we require is a dialogue between all the international community, cooperation. I think that's the only way forward. But my personal opinion is that yes, armed guards do help, and they should, continue, because as having sailed on ships myself, there was an incident when we were chased by pirates, and of course at that time we just used other measures, not armed guards. But today I would say that yes, I think you would feel safer with armed guards on board. Thank you.
Thank you, Sandhya ji. Whatever happened to the good and safe passage at sea for seafarers who are carrying out their job at their workplace? Something needs to be done, and with all due respect to IMO and circulars, they lack teeth and implementation, so the seafarers are left to fend for themselves. I'm speaking like a seafarer now. I'm mindful that we have to throw the floor open for questions.